Would you, would you like a new mum? Would it be weird if I still called him Daddy?
Okay, gotta go. Call me when you want to be honest. I'm so disgusted and sick right now, I'm leaving.
Right, you all tend to get quite angsty if I don't post enough foreign content, so here we are, and here he is, Ellen. Bloody hell, that is max. Sure, just pull the bark off with your bare hands, just undress the log. That is fucking enormous. And this is long as well. This is a long video. This is going to be difficult. Me, with all my fucking knowledge, who would swing once and collapse. Oh, the suspenders are coming up. Right. And the shirt's been untucked. Do you need help? I volunteer. We can airdrop me in. I will be of no use, but I will never leave. You just find me in the woods like, hello. Bloody hell. I don't actually think I've ever seen him like go for this long. Grown up. Go on, babe. Get up.
Alright. Go.
Oh, come on. Proud. No, don't overachieve and just split it in two.
Hardest piece ever.
Madman. Just,
And this is always fantastic to see whenever I see a woman, a real woman, just embracing her femininity, engaging with the fact that she's female and she's attracted to a man, right? A masculine man. It's become foreign these days almost, right? Just to have a straight female be attracted to a straight male. Right? That's becoming more and more foreign. They want to make that abnormal, and they want to make the abnormal normal. You notice that? That's what they're trying to do these days. Like they're trying to make like normal relationships, healthy normal relationships between men and women, abnormal and obsolete, while they make like all of these different types of genders and sexual preferences and like just all this disgusting behavior normal. Regardless, I always appreciate it when I see a woman just appreciating a man, right? Just appreciating a man, for being masculine, right? Dare I say toxic, chopping up that lumber, chopping up that tree. And she's just watching this go down, and you could tell she's just getting into it. She's like, oh my gosh. You know, and even that is just hard to find these days. Just guys being guys, right? Guys going out there and being dudes and acting like dudes and doing manly stuff. I mean, one thing that saddens me more and more these days is guys are not doing these things, right? They're just not engaging in things that guys would normally engage in before, right? I mean, I remember like, you know, back in the day, I mean, like lifting weights, playing violent sports like football or wrestling or rugby or boxing. I mean, this was just the norm, right? Guys would want to engage in this stuff, or, you know, cars, especially cars. I mean, yeah, I always find it kind of a red flag if a guy is not very car savvy, if he doesn't know a whole lot about cars, which is becoming more and more common these days, sadly, right? I mean, I go to Cars and Coffee every weekend. Sometimes I take my Vet, my 65 Corvette. Other times I take my DeLorean. I've been taking my DeLorean a lot more often just because I love the fact that it just steals the show. Right, it steals the show. Other like car owners get pissed sometimes, like, man, he has to bring that DeLorean again. But regardless, yeah, I've noticed like more and more guys are just not very knowledgeable when it comes to cars, right? And the girl I'm seeing now, she's like 21, and she goes, that was probably one of the big like turn-ons that she said she was like got really attracted to me about. She was like, you could go on and on about like muscle cars, 60s cars, engines, torque, horsepower, classic cars. She was like, you had this wealth of information that most guys my age don't have. And I'm like, that's crazy, because I've had this knowledge since high school, right? I'm like, I mean, I didn't really learn anything new. This is what guys were talking about when I was in high school. And she was like, no, these guys are driving electric cars and Priuses. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And she was stunned at the fact that I had motorcycles, and I used to ride a lot of motorcycles, especially back in the day, looking for a new bike right now. And she was, I could tell, like, even as I was talking about that, she was like, you had a bike? And I go, yeah, I had several bikes. I was like, you never been on a motorcycle? She's like, no. Of course, I took out a motorcycle. She was just thrilled. She was like, wow, guys my age do not drive motorcycles. They're just too dangerous. And I'm like, I had so many buddies back in the day who drove bikes because they couldn't afford to buy the car, right? Bikes were cheaper back then. So it's sad that so many of these, so many men today, so many males I should call them, are not engaging in just things that would, that were normal back in the day, that would increase their testosterone, right? It would increase your testosterone if you would just do more manly stuff. But I love seeing that this woman is just responding to that, right? And I see this all the time, by the way. I see this because I still do pickup, I still do game. When I talk to girls, when I approach girls in a way that's domineering and unapologetic and just non-reactive and non-validating to them, I could just see, you could feel it. It's almost like you could just feel that energy, that feminine energy that's just dying to come out of them, come out, because it's like, wow, I'm talking to somebody who isn't a pussy, somebody who isn't just kowtowing to me, somebody who isn't just telling me whatever I want to hear because it's politically correct. But I have somebody in front of me who's willing to go in the opposite direction, who has the balls to do that, right? And I think there's even some infield where I approached a couple of feminists, right? And this happens a lot too these days, but I approached a couple of feminists. They were from Canada. It was at Saddle Ranch, Hollywood. And the girl was literally like, oh, so you think that's cool to just talk to girls you don't know? You think that makes you feel like a man? And she was like trying to shame me. And I just stood there, right? I let her get it out of her. Then I started going on the attack, right? And I'm like, where are you even from? Who are you to think you could talk to people like that? Who are you to assume that was what I was doing? Are you really that full of yourself, that arrogant? You're right. I started to get into it where some dudes at the bar are like, uh-oh, because they're like, man, this dude's like getting pissed. I wasn't, right? I was in total control. But I quickly turned her, her little bravado around into, she was basically came at me like a lion, like with claws, and then I turned her into a kitty cat. And by the end of the night, I was explaining to her how the science of attraction works. And I did admit, I said, I'm a professional pickup artist. And, she was off-put at that at first, but then she became more and more fascinated by it. And I told her I had a YouTube channel, and this is why I'm doing this. I have guys on boot camp with me here. They're picking up girls too. And there's nothing wrong with that, young lady. There's nothing wrong with a man communicating with a woman. If you're not interested, that's fine. But we could still have a polite conversation. And we can still communicate as humans, because if we can't do that, then and communication breaks down, we don't have a civilization, right? And she was like, just like hanging on my every word at one point. And then finally, right, and I was teaching her how most guys, their eyes dilate when they get nervous. She was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. And she's like, you're not human. And she was like, you're just so solid and blah, blah, blah. And, by the end of the night, I took her with me, and we were macking and grabbing on each other and everything. But and it was just to prove the point to my students too, as well as don't get scared just because these chicks put up this facade I'm this strong woman, and then I'm feminist. That's not how you talk to women these days. I'm like, because when you act masculine, she will act feminine, right? That's just basic law of attraction. When you act masculine, she will act feminine. Right? When you're willing to put her in her place, right? She will submit. But if she senses any hint of incongruence in you, oh man, this guy's really a pussy. He's just a poser. He's just, I don't believe this. He's just acting, whatever. Then she'll completely demolish you and pick you apart. So it has to be real. You have to be congruent with it. Whereas, well, and what that means is your thoughts, words, and actions all aligned, right? But I mean, this is a skill. This is a skill. I don't recommend doing this if you have not had any training, if you've not gone through 7 months of mastery, and if you have not been on my channel long enough. Don't just walk up to women trying to shut them down and thinking it'll work. Sometimes it works, right? But if you're in your head too much, and you're not in the zone, it's not going to work. I'm able to do it because it's just second nature to me. I don't let women disrespect me or talk down to me or try to correct my language. I don't allow women to do that to me, right? Because I'm a man. You know, I expect respect. As the same, yeah, I will give it back, but I will not tolerate that behavior, right? Which many men do, sadly. Many men tolerate that type of behavior from just not only like random women they don't know, but they tolerate it from their own woman, right? They tolerate it from their own woman, you know? And I've always said, like, you can't allow that, because that is when you lose your woman. You know, she will start to lose respect for you, you know? And there have been times where with my girl, I've had to let her know, like, hey, you're crossing the line, right? And I try to end things in as few words as possible. You don't want to sit there like yapping your head off and like, you know, throwing a tantrum, because that's beta. That means you're in your feminine energy. You want to be able to do it from a position of authority, right? Authority, and to let the person know, like, hey, you know, I was nice to you, now I'm serious, right? This is going to stop, right? And you take pauses when you speak, right? But you want to do it in as few words as possible, and let her know, like, hey, she's not dealing with one of these blue pill simps that you see out there every day, like our president, or, you know, on the mainstream media. No, you're dealing with somebody who is not afraid to shut you down. Okay, and when you act masculine, she will submit. But I love tonight's clips for that fact that this woman is just behaving like a woman. Why? Because she sees a man behaving like a man. Would she have that same reaction if she was watching some like simp, you know, putting on a dress like Harry Styles or something? No. Harry Styles is another one. What I talk about. I mean, so many Hollywood simps out there, right? Dude wears a dress. Dude got dumped by a 37-year-old divorced single mom, and he's a rich, famous celebrity that could have had any woman in the world, could have had himself a string of 18, 19-year-old hotties, like models, if he wanted. But no, chose a 37-year-old single mom who ended up dumping his ass because he's so blue pill and he has no value. I mean, I don't have his fame, don't have his money, right? Even though financially I'm successful, I don't have his level, right? But I have way more control over the women in my life that I bring in, that I attract, that I engage with, than he ever will, because he's a complete puss. Drop your comments below, guys. Let me know what you think of tonight's coaching video. Anything you'd like to add, anything you'd like to share, please drop them in the comments below. As always, this is M from the 33 Secrets, signing out here. Don't forget to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and smash that notification bell as well, so that you're notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on the YouTube. More importantly, guys, please make sure that if you love my work, if you love what I'm teaching here, it's adding value to your life, if you want to help me out, jump into 7 months of mastery. You're going to get a ton of value out of it. This is my personal program where I teach you how to go out there and approach and close the youngest, hottest, and most beautiful looking women in the world. I'm talking about 8s, 9s, and 10s. I'm not talking about single moms, divorced single moms, damaged women over 30, women with 5 therapists. No, I'm talking about the cream of the crop, just young, attractive, beautiful, and very classic and traditional women who are not like modern women. I teach you where to find these girls, how to cold approach them, and how to bring them into your life. I have many successful students around the world now, many of which have gotten married and had children and had families. It's crazy, with women that are, that are beyond, let's say, a bit out of their league, to put it nicely, right? They were able to get women who were more attractive than they would normally have gotten if they hadn't been in mastery, and women that they probably would not have found if they had never gone through my mastery program and learned my teachings, right? So I teach you this stuff, and I teach you from a red pill perspective. I'm a professional pickup artist. I've been out there for the last 3 decades now. I've been coaching men since the 90s, so I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. I know how to find these girls. I still go out to this very day, and so I'm still fresh in the game, and you're gonna learn a ton and get a ton out of value out of my 7 Months of Mastery program, right? And it's really easy to sign up. Well, right now it's only $1 for the entire first month of coaching lessons, so take advantage of it. All you need to do is click the link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds, so do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video.